So today I wanted to take a look at what are some of the most expensive instruments of all time that we definitely could never afford. I ended up finding this auction thing where these guys would appraise instruments and tell people what they're actually worth. And that got me thinking. I was like, what is the most expensive instruments of all time? Starting off, we have the OM45 Deluxe Acoustic Guitar from C.F. Martin and Company. C.F. Martin started producing guitars in America in the mid-1800s. Today they make more than 50,000 instruments per year, and after 1929, for a year, Martin started producing their OM, which stands for Orchestra Model line, which is said to be the most beautiful guitar ever made. The OM45 Deluxe was the choice guitar for Roy Rogers, who was an American singer and actor who played in a shitload of cowboy movies back in the 40s and 50s, and his guitar specifically was auctioned for a grand $554,500 in 2009. What the hell? There was actually also a replica that was made of this that was also bought for $80,000. Not even the real thing, just the replica of it. That is absurd. Second on the list, we have Eric Clapton's Fender Stratocaster. Now, for those of you that don't know Eric Clapton off the top of your head, that's the guy that made the Cocaine song, you know, the cocaine. Eric Clapton constructed Blackie, which was the guitar, I'm assuming, using a 1956 Stratocaster body and a 1957 neck and pickups from another instrument. So here we go again. You got artists, big artists, they're creating their custom instruments. They sell like freaking crazy because then now they're one of ones. This custom guitar can be heard on numerous Clapton hits since it was his favorite, both in studio and on stage. Clapton sold Blackie at Christie's in 2004 for $959,500 to raise funds for his Crossroads Rehab Center. Almost $1 million for a guitar. Yeah, I mean, even if it was like Dimebag Darrell's freaking Dean, I feel like max $500K is all you're gonna get out of me. Okay. Next up, we have Lady Blunt Stradivarius. The Lady Blunt is a Stradivarius violin made in 1721 by the renowned Italian luthier Antonio Stradivari. It is named after one of its first known owners, Lady Anne Blunt, the British co-founder of the Crabbe Arabian Stud. Don't know what that is. Hold on. What? The Crabbe Arabian Stud, also known as the Crabbe Park Stud, was an English horse breeding farm that ran from 1878 to 1972. That was a bit of a tangent. I have no idea why this person's violin sold for much. That doesn't sound like anything related to music, but let's keep going. The first owner of record was Jean-Baptiste Vuillaume, an award-winning luthier who found the violin in Spain in the 1860s. He sold the instrument to Lady Anne Blunt, and W.E. Hill & Sons bought the violin from her and sold it to an important collector. It was sold at auction by Sotheby's in 1971 for the then record amount of £84,000, which is equated to $200,000 US dollars. USD, baby. $200,000 is a lot of money back then. It was sold to Robert Lowe, who owned the violin for nearly 30 years. It was sold again by Sotheby's in London in 14th of November 1985 for a record price of £820,000 to a private collector. £820,000 is equivalent to $1,088,468 USD. And that's not even as far as it goes. In 2008, it was sold to the Nippon Music Foundation for over $10 million in a private transaction. What are people doing? Dude. In the wake of the 2011 Tohoku earthquake and tsunami, the Lady Blunt was put up for charitable sale with proceeds going to the Nippon Foundation's relief fund. Teriso Auctions handled the sale online, raising almost £10 million, which is equivalent to $15.9 million USD. The anonymous buyer who won a 90-minute bidding battle with one other bidder. Imagine that shit. These millionaires are just on eBay like, I'm gonna get him. 10 million. Put 10 million down. That is crazy. A little bit more about the instrument. The Lady Blunt is one of the two best preserved Stradivarius violins in existence. See, that makes sense because these things, when they're well preserved and the older they are, the more valuable they are. And on top of it, you got all the times it's been sold, the history of it, and then you got the charity auction with it. It's game over. That's literally more than you would make in a lifetime. I make that every month, but that's more than you would make in a lifetime. All right, pipe down. The violin also retains its original neck and has been played very rarely. Okay, so nobody's using it. Everybody just won this thing as a collection piece, so that's why it was able to be maintained. Not impressive to me, personally. Next up, we got the Joachim Ma Stradivarius. On Friday, February 7th, an exceedingly rare violin crafted in 1714 by Antonio Stradivari, here we go again with this guy, during his renowned golden period, achieved $11.3 million at Sotheby's, New York, with the proceeds benefiting New England Conservatory. I'm noticing a theme with all these things. These things are, one, they gotta be in the golden period. Two, they gotta be for charity. And I keep seeing this Sotheby's place in New York. I don't know what this place is. Let's look it up real quick. Oh, it's just an art auction place in New York. It's a famous art auction place. Lame as hell. Probably see a lot of freaking contemporary art nerds running around up in there. You probably see a lot of people jumping around with markers in their hands and shit, alright? Don't go there. The funds will be used to establish the largest named endowed scholarship in support of future generations of musicians. That's what this is going to, is to just give kids scholarships. You sold the coolest instrument for that. Dude, put that shit to like Red Cross or something. Music degrees are pointless and nobody freaking needs to pay much for them anyways, because nobody cares to market them, alright? If you're going to a place where you're paying a shitload of money for music, you're stupid. Still though, 11.3, I think that was still below the Lady Blunt one. Lady Blunt topped out at like 15.9. So Stradivarius, golden age my ass. Seems like we're more worried about Lady Blunt than we are Stradivari, motherfucker. Next up, we have the Duport Stradivarius. Duport Stradivarius is a cello made in 1711 by Italian luthier Antonio Stradivari. Of course. The instrument is named after Jean-Louis Duport, who played it from around 1800 until his death. The Duport is one of Stradivari's B-form cellos. This form, which Stradivari first used in 1709, arose from requests by patrons for a smaller cello that was more versatile. In addition to its smaller dimensions, the B-form cello took advantage of recent advancements in string technology and production. Bro just made a bass. Bro literally just made a bass. Like, pick it up off the ground, pick it up, take it, pick it up, take it down. The cello was built in 1711, likely at the request of King Louis XIV. King Louis XIV, right? What? Likely at the request of King Louis XIV's personal physician. Bro, what does this guy even know about physics? Am I right? Francois Chicoigne. Dude, this is an impossible video because I can't freaking even understand how these names are supposed to be said. Jesus. When Chicoigne died in 1752, the cello was sent to Paris to be sold by a private dealer. When this failed, the cello was put up for the public auction. Cellist Jean-Louis Duport, not to be confused with his older brother Jean-Pierre. Silly. If you thought we were talking about Jean-Pierre, you're stupid. You need a music degree, which would also make you stupid. It's a lose-lose. What's the point? Don't do music. Doesn't pay off. I try so hard. I try to make music that people would like, and I spent a lot of money. Fuck, I got so in the character, I actually almost started crying. That was crazy. No need to put anything in the comments. I'm okay. I'm alright. Cellist Jean-Louis Duport submitted a bid with the help of two friends, both of whom were princes. The auction failed, however, and the cello's sale was eventually entrusted to private dealer George Cousineau. The Duport brothers were later contacted to see if they remained interested in the cello, and they bought it for a relatively low price. I don't understand. What do you mean it failed? I get the first one because they're like, maybe no one was interested, but obviously my boy Jean-Louis and Jean-Pierre were up in there, and they were like, yo, Pierre, you want to come take a look at this? And then he was like, you know what I mean? In 1812, Jean-Louis Duport permitted Napoleon Bonaparte to handle the cello after giving a concert at the Tuileries Palace. A dent still visible in the instrument is said to have resulted from the emperor's rough handling while straddling the cello with his boots. God damn it, that short son of a bitch. Jean-Louis Duport died in 1819, and the cello was passed to his son. Auguste Joseph Francombe set a price record by purchasing it for FRF 25,000 in 1843 from Duport's son. The instrument maker Jean-Baptiste Vuillaume used the Duport as the primary model for his cellos. Cellist Gerald Warburg was the owner. He died in 1971 and reportedly told violin dealer, whoever the hell her name is, that the cello should be sold only to Dude, I'm literally not gonna say the names anymore. Holy shit, this is crazy. I don't know if I'm just being American or what, but this is crazy. It should be sold to Rostropovich and no one else. After Rostropovich's death, the cello was initially reported in the press as purchased by the Nippon Music Foundation for $20 million. Alright, ready? Here's my what face. That's a little joke me and my girlfriend have, but I know she's not going to watch this video to appreciate that. Alright, we got to the end of it. $20 million. That's freaking balls to the walls, baby. This one is just labeling this as still for sale, so don't know if we can really count that, but we're going to talk about it anyways. It's a viola that was rarely used. In 2014, the multinational fine art giant Sotheby's attempt to sell one of the world's rarest instruments at the higher price of all time, $45 million. For the McDonald Stradivarius viola, the now infamous sealed bid auction made headlines across classical and mainstream media. It became an even bigger story when the McDonald ultimately failed to attract a bidder, inciting a wave of schadenfreude among the auction's many detractors. Put up a definition of schadenfreude. You don't know what that is. You're stupid. Correct. The McDonald is a piece by the legendary instrument maker Antonio Stradivari. The rarest Strads are his violas, as is estimated that he only made around 15 of them. The McDonald Stradivarius is one of 11 true violas, not containing a 12th that was wilted down from a viola d'amour, which means viola of love in French. I didn't look that up, I just know that because I took French for like 7 years from middle school, freaking high school, just to continue to be here in America and not use that shit a day in my life. That still survived today. This is the ultimate Pokemon card. Slap that shit on there, freaking reverse holographic, boom. Logan Paul would have this shit on his neck, alright? I think that's about it for the instruments. Top favorite, I honestly say the very first one, CF Martin. Now, after seeing those other prices, that one doesn't seem half bad. I feel like I could afford that if I saved up for a couple generations. No, overall though, I do think the guitar is the sickest one just because it looks cool, actually. The rest of these, it's like I don't play classical instruments, so I don't have an appreciation for it. But I think it's pretty dope. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Thank you so much for being here. If you enjoyed it, please like, comment, subscribe. It helps me out a lot, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye!